So here we are again. It's the Labor Day weekend. Who would have thought we'd get here? We've just come through a summer not soon to be forgotten. A season which we normally associate with more freedom, lots of social activity and parties and gatherings. And the pandemic changed all that. It's a different kind of reality. Many people have been absolutely confined to quarters. Their circles of association or interactions have been reduced, in some cases to no one. And that brings me to a rather difficult subject that I should add Jesus never shied away from. He never shied away from difficult subjects. He had this wonderful wisdom about our humanity and all the things that can assail us, particularly in times of stress or when we're uncomfortable. And the subject is the one of conflict. Now, we have seen in the papers from time to time and over the news over the summer, people who are actually confined in places with people who are very difficult to be with. And that may not be, I pray, your circumstance, but even the best communities, even the best social bubbles have moments of crankiness when you're stuck with the same people or the same person day after day after day. And the little things that we could normally have been very generous and graceful and ignore are now very difficult. You know, why are you drinking from the carton of milk, for instance? Although I don't do that, I must say. So now we have Jesus identifying through Matthew, or Matthew using Jesus's words, identifying what happens to us and how we could handle conflict. This is a very famous passage, this week's gospel, where Matthew is speaking to a community very different from us culturally, but maybe not so different in terms of human experience. It was a community that was under stress, it was very isolated, it was persecuted. You only have to read his comments about the various factions that were having problems with the Christian community, and they were thrown much on their resources, just as you and I have been thrown back on our resources through the pandemic. So there's a similarity. And Matthew picks up Jesus's comment on how to handle conflict. And he talks about it in terms of community. It's rather interesting to see that Jesus does not start by saying, avoid it at all costs, because I know most of us don't like to talk about conflict. We think it's something abnormal. Well, I need to tell you right now that conflict is a very normal part of human interaction. It's neutral. It's neither bad nor good. Conflict will arrive and arise the moment you and I, two people in a room, have a difference of opinion. It may simply be a difference of opinion, or it may be that drinking out of the carton of milk. Who knows? So Jesus identifies through Matthew what you do when conflict happens. And he begins by saying, talk to each other. Dialogue, wonderful Greek word, dialogos. Share wisdom. Share speech. Don't turn away. Talk to the person that you're having difficult times with. And if it doesn't work, then broaden the conversation. If you're able, get somebody else in. Not to bring judgment on the person with whom you're having conflict, but rather to try and work your way through to a state of peace and resolution and reconciliation. And then, of course, in Matthew's gospel, he talks about broadening the conversation even larger, and if that's possible, not so possible maybe this summer, but if it's possible, bring in more people, bring in more wisdom, keep the talk going. Look towards reconciliation. Look towards some kind of creative way of handling whatever it is, whatever disagreement has come up between you and I or whoever it may be. So, difficult subject, a huge reality when you're stuck in one place with one person and we get kind of grumpy and cranky. That may be inevitable. My prayer is that whether or not you want to tear a page out of Matthew's book, that you, I, and anyone else will find creative and graceful ways of keeping conversation going when difficulties arrive and find our way through to a place of peace and reconciliation and mutual respect. That's my prayer for you. Blessings for this week.
Today for our music segment, I'm joined by Jackie Morris, who's a violin and viola player. And together we're remembering our good friend Janet Roy, who passed away just recently. Um, Janet was the principal second of the National Arts Center. She was the concertmaster for many years of the Strings of St. John's, and she was a fixture of music around our parish. Now, Jackie, you and Janet were good friends. How did you meet?
I was introduced through a mutual musical friend in the early 2000s, and following her retirement from the NAC, we enjoyed many times playing together, both in orchestra settings, and did a lot of chamber music, which we really enjoyed, playing both the violin and the viola for many years.
Yeah, well, you know, she was a fabulous player and a very amazing character. She's the most energetic woman I know. You have any particular favorite stories or memories?
I do. My husband and I invited her for supper one night, Christmas Eve. She was on her own. And so we decided to invite her out for supper and picked her up at her home and brought her out to this sort of fine dining in a mall restaurant, Italian restaurant called Napoli's. And when she took her coat off, she had a string of small Christmas lights lit up as a necklace. And she sat with those lit all the way through the supper. And it was quite a lot of fun.
Well, I love it. She used to show up for concerts with the orchestra, and she'd always have some little thing, a little piece of holly or mistletoe or whatever. Yeah. She liked us all to have a little bit of seasonal bling.
Absolutely.
So that's great. Yeah. Well, in our video today, you are playing actually Janet's viola, right? Can you tell us a bit about it?
I am. We both discovered the carbon fiber instruments in the early 2000s, and we ordered from Lewis and Clark, but we both had twin instruments. For today's presentation, I'm playing her carbon fiber instrument, which you can see here. Surprisingly, it's black. They do sell them in brown, but we decided the black would be a little bit more fun. And when you order one of these from the States, it comes all the way to Canada, and it's in a wooden box wrapped in bubble pack. So they're very durable. Also, a lot of violinists and violists have some trouble with the tuning pegs. They often stick, and you need to do, put some special treatment on those in order to get them to turn. But these are geared like a guitar. So they're very easy to tune. You can even have it up at your neck and just tune this along. And the whole weight, another problem a violist's face is the weight of an instrument. The viola is quite a lot larger than the violin, so a lot of people have muscular trouble. So this thing is actually 1 pound and 4 ounce total weight. So it's quite a, and the instrument sounds beautiful. We both very pleased with the sound, which hopefully you will hear the quality of the recording that you're about to hear.
Well, that is a particularly beautiful instrument. The piece that we're playing today in honor of Janet Roy is by Gabriel Fauré, and it's a beautiful melody entitled Après un rêve. Thank you.